Hello aspirants, this is me Yasmin Gill presenting to you the PIB highlights of 4th of February. So you can follow all these videos on the new course of February PIB highlights on this particular link. Plus you can also rate and review the course. So how can you rate and review the course? See, firstly go on Unacademy. Thereby you can search PIB February. So once you search PIB February, you will come across various courses. So just click on the course which you wish to rate and review. For example, in this case, it's PIB highlights in English of February. So once you click on it, there will be an option called reviews. Once you click on the reviews, you can actually write your review there, plus with the help of stars you can give the star ratings. So let's begin. Firstly, we have under history culture section Mahakaruna Divas. So one thing important is that it is linked to Buddhism. Second important is that it is celebrated by Mahabodhi International Meditation Center situated in Leh Ladakh. Now what is the importance of this day? I couldn't fetch it out. It was not given on PIB. I checked on the website of this meditation center, but it was not given as to why Mahakaruna Divas is celebrated. So in case any one of you is aware of it, just put it down in the comment section so that everybody gets to know of it. Next we have two very important topics because PIB news items were very less today, so we'll be covering two different articles from Indian Express. Firstly, we have Naga and women reservation. Very, very important issue. So see, firstly, why are we talking of it? We are talking of it because what happened was that Nagaland's State Assembly, which earlier opposed the idea of 33% quota for women in urban local bodies, has recently allowed this 33% quota. Now what has happened is that in context of this allowal, Nagas have protested against the 33% reservation. Simultaneously, the protest goes on or extends to the demand of seeking the ouster of the current chief minister, particularly because of the, as per the Naga they say that various state police excesses were committed, and according to that, 2 youth actually died. So therefore, we also demand, along with revoking this decision of 33% reservation, we also demand ousting the chief minister. Also, the protest methods which were used were similar to what we saw in Jat agitation in Haryana as well. So, actually, you vandalize the public property. So, what happened was they actually set ablaze municipal council buildings, adjoining offices and so on. Simultaneously, they put a blockade between the Dimapur and Kohima. Dimapur is the only place in Nagaland which is connected by railway. Also, one important tactic which they are following is that any person who is contesting election, they are actually boycotting that particular candidate or that particular person. So this is why we are talking of it, and these are the protest methods which were followed. Moving on, why are they protesting against the 33% reservation? Most important question. See, what is the problem in Nagaland is that the tribal traditional bodies of Nagaland, they are exclusively run by men. So they do not want to cede their power to women. This is one thing. And for this, they cite two articles of Indian Constitution. One is Article 243T. This pertains to the reservation for women. They say that this particular article, it infringes upon our customs and traditions. So for them, it is a case of customary laws versus constitutional law. Because they do not like this article of reservation, they say it infringe or hinder upon their or actually enter into their tradition. It is not as per their tradition, it goes against their tradition. This is one thing. Second article which they cite is Article 371A. As per Article 371A, firstly we will go to Article 371A. What does it say? So briefly speaking, it says that nothing or no act of parliament can be passed in respect of religious or social practices of Nagas and such on without the approval of the state assembly. So it actually gives certain sort of special protection to Naga customs. So they cite this article saying that this is one article of Indian Constitution which protects our culture. Therefore, the reservation thing which is against our culture should not be allowed. So they cite these two articles. One they are against and one they use it as they use it in their favor. Plus other reasons cited are, one group of tribal leaders, they say that okay, women, they already enjoy equal rights in the Naga society and they do not need quotas. Simultaneously, a very important group, Naga Ho-Ho. So, Naga Ho-Ho is a group which represents approximately 16 tribal groups. So, it has put forward a unique point. So, what is it? They say that we are not against women representation. What we are against is that we do not want women to get elected. We want them to be nominated. Why so? Because while they contest elections involve money, liquor, guns, and women are not equipped to contest in these elections. So this is how they put forward the agenda of actually doing away with the women election. So they say that we can actually see them nominated but not elected. So these are the various reasons cited by the protesters. Simultaneously, this is Article 371A. Then we have, what about the constitutional provisions? You know, we have a constitutional provision pertaining to 74th Constitutional Amendment Act, whereby 1/3 of the seats have to be reserved for women. So why is there any need for protests and all this? This has to be done compulsory, right? So, but the problem in Nagaland is that ever since Article 243, which provides for reservation, it came into force, ever since then civic elections have not been held in Nagaland. Also, 74th Amendment, Nagaland was very slow in adopting them. It adopted the 74th Amendment, which pertained to urban local bodies, way after in 2006. Simultaneously, the usual reason that it is against customary laws, so they do not actually want to adopt this particular amendment. As a result, what has happened is that urban governance is suffering. There is a huge lack of funds as well. So this is how the constitutional provision is not implemented at the ground level. Then we have what is the reason cited by, or what is the counter cited by the government as well as the women leadership. So firstly, government is saying that this non-holding of elections is depriving the state of funds, as it was cited in the previous slide as well. Simultaneously, it is saying that it is giving a new point, which is that this particular reservation, it does not infringe upon Naga tradition. Why? Because the very concept of urban local bodies is new. So how can it actually infringe upon the Naga tradition? Simultaneously, women group, their protests are spearheaded by Naga Mothers Association. It actually went to Supreme Court as well by way of special leave petition. So do mention in the comment section under which article do we have special leave petition. Simultaneously, what Naga Mother Association has said that, see, they say that men have not shown any sort of objection to village council representation. So what happens in Nagaland is that 25% reservation for women is granted in village development boards. So women associations say that if they did not show any sort of objection to this particular clause, why objection now? Overall, if we look at the condition of women, whether they require such sort of quota or not, so we'll study that in this particular slide. So see, firstly, women in Nagaland, in Naga culture, they are debarred or not allowed land ownership. Also, Naga society has not held men and women as equal. Simultaneously, if you look at the political space, women have not found sufficient political space in Nagaland. This can be seen from the very fact that till now, ever since the state was formed, no woman has made it to Legislative Assembly. Only one woman got elected in Lok Sabha, and that was Rano M. Sheze, so you need not remember the name. That shows the amount of political representation which is lacking in Nagaland. So it is a sort of society of contrasts in Nagaland. Why? Because though the representation levels are quite weak, but otherwise if you look at the education parameters and all, they are way ahead in terms of literacy rate than as compared to the rest of the country. So in this context, you have this question. So it asks you that political representation of women in India has still a long way to cover. Discuss along with reasons for such a state of representation. So see, just do not limit your answer to urban local bodies. Go to representation in Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha as well, which is a pending bill, women reservation bill. Simultaneously, what you can do is that even if women form a part of the political parties, they actually put forward the agenda of their own political parties rather than talking about the women issues. So the empowerment actually doesn't take place. So do include these 2 points as well. Next, we have under economics another important topic, inequality. So what has happened is that in the 2015 report by Credit Suisse, it has shown the usually spoken of fact. What is it? That richest 1% of world's population has the same amount of wealth which the other 99% have. But since it was a very old report, so why are we talking about it right now? We are talking about it right now because Oxfam in January has come up with an analysis, and that analysis is really shocking pertaining to the inequality. What it says is that the wealth of the bottom 50% has come down a lot. Plus today it takes just 8 people to equalize the total wealth of half of the world's people. So shocking indeed. Other than that, what are the reasons cited for this inequality? Now you may choose to agree with these reasons or you may actually disagree with them. So one reason which was mentioned in Express is globalization. What the author says is that, she was a lady, so what she says is that globalization has actually come up with a worsened income distribution. So income distribution has not taken properly or in an equal way. Therefore, globalization is one reason. Other important fact is that the inequality has been rising. So the gap has been rising between rich and poor. Also, for example, in countries such as US, real incomes have shown very less increase. So one reason here is globalization. Then she says about the workers, the wages they get very low wages, particularly in context of women workers. Then she talks about, in the context of globalization continued, global supply chains. See, she says that global supply chains, they actually push forward the companies to gain profit. So in this pursuit of profit, what happens is that the suppliers compete with each other and pay very less to workers. For example, you can quote two very beautiful examples. One is pertaining to cocoa farmers. We know very famously that chocolate bars are made from cocoa farmers. So way back in 1980s, out of the total amount of or out of the total value of chocolate bar, the cocoa farmers in 1980, they just received 18% of the total value, while today this contribution has come even down and they receive just 6%. So this is how rest of it is sucked as profit. Then we have the lobbying part of it. Third reason which she cites is that corporations and individuals are very good at lobbying and influencing the government policies. This they do with the help of lobbying, backing political candidates, financing think tanks, universities, etc. And the Oxfam also actually sort of corroborates this fact by saying that 43% of world's wealth is mainly related to cronism, while only 1/3 is the inherited sort of wealth. Plus, she says that this lobbying point, it has actually entered technology sector as well. The earlier technology sector was pretty much clean, but now Alphabet, that is the parent company of Google, has become one of the biggest lobbyists in Washington. So what is the suggestion or what is the solutions which she suggests? She says that the tax policies must be more progressive, minimum wages must be higher, also social protection or social security must be provided. Then we must move from this GDP related race which we follow among the countries, and we must go for other parameters. For example, Bhutan's gross national happiness, etc., or certain sort of other parameters which actually cut down the inequality. Simultaneously, she talks about independent media as well. Overall, the fundamental reform of capitalism is necessary. Other than that, if we look at the situation in India, so in India in 2016, the richest 1% owned 60% of wealth. Most important question which arises is that what is the effect of such an inequality being pursued? So various good points I mentioned here, just do focus on them. So what she says is that what are the effects of such an inequality? Firstly, people lose a sense of social belongingness. They feel a sort of alienation, and overall the social capital, something which actually glues the people of a society, be it rich or poor, towards happy living or harmonious living, that sense of belongingness, it vanishes away. Simultaneously, people indulge into crime because there will be more of robberies, etc. Drug abuse, increased anxiety, health and social problems, xenophobia. How xenophobia? Why? Because see, people will compete neck and throat for the jobs, and they'll not let other people or migrants take those jobs. Then we might have authoritarian leadership as well. Also, do remember that reducing inequality is also one of the goals as mentioned in the Sustainable Development Agenda as well. And many middle income countries have actually managed to bridge this inequality, and that too along with the continued growth figures. So in that context, you have these two questions. The first one asks you that it is time to shift the narrative from eliminating poverty to eliminating relative poverty. Discuss. Second asks you, what do you think are the causes for economic inequality in India, and what can be the possible solutions to rectify it? Simultaneously, we have this MCQs from today's session. First is related to the silk varieties, second to the PMI, and third one to the Louvre Museum. So you can actually find these answers in the MCQ course, and you can rate and review the MCQ course as well. In case you find this course useful, please do not forget to rate and review the same. Thank you so much.